Hello, and welcome back to Historical Biography. Today we're going to be talking about Jane Addams, who is a social changer and advocate from the United States, born and raised in my home state of Illinois, and she made a name for herself in Chicago. Let's start talking about what Jane did. So Jane was an American settlement activist. So basically, she was someone who worked for people who came to America to settle in the United States. She was a reformer, a social worker, a sociologist, and a public administrator, as well as an author. Addams was an important leader of social work, women's suffrage in the United States, and she advocated for world peace for most of her life. In 1920, she was one of the co-founders of the American Civil Liberties Union, otherwise known as the ACLU, and in 1931, she became the first American woman to win the Nobel Peace Prize. So she's clearly an accomplished person in American history, and she accomplished a lot during her lifetime. So here are some of the main highlights of what Jane accomplished. She was the founder of the social work profession in the United States. So most social work programs identify her as kind of like the founder of social work in the United States. And she founded Chicago's Hull House. Hull House is a settlement house, and it helped European immigrants as they tried to transition from Europe to the United States. So it was kind of like, you can kind of think of it as like a community center for European immigrants. Hull House served as a doctor's office, a domestic abuse shelter, an orphanage for unwanted children, as well as providing the city's first public playground, gymnasium, and bathhouse. So really, it tried to do a lot of things for these people who were moving to the United States for the first time, who maybe didn't really speak English that well, or had other issues going on. This place was there to support them. Hull House, like I said, was founded in 1889 on the near west side of Chicago. The original house was named after the first house's owners, the Hulls, and by 1911, Hull House had become a complex of 13 different buildings. 1 year later, they added a summer camp as well, which they used for children during the summer so that their parents could continue working. Hull House was the first of what would end up becoming 500 settlement houses in the United States. So it was the first of its kind, and it was really the brainchild of Jane Addams. What else did Jane do? Well, she was a co-founder of the American Civil Liberties Union, like I said, and the ACLU is an organization that's dedicated to preserving individual rights for all people in the United States. And they work through both litigation and lobbying Congress. So they have people who are in Washington all the time trying to get members of Congress to support their view and their work preserving individual rights. But then they also work in the courts. They file amicus briefs all the time with the Supreme Court, and they also will provide monetary assistance or even argue cases for people in specific instances. They are active in every state, the District of Columbia and Puerto Rico. And like I said, they provide monetary assistance in cases where civil liberties may be at risk, and sometimes they even argue those cases on behalf of the people involved. Lots of different issues have been covered by the ACLU. Just a few of them. The Scopes monkey trial was actually prompted by the ACLU. The ACLU convinced Scopes to teach evolution in Tennessee, so that trial came about because the ACLU said they would back him. They have defended the Jehovah's Witnesses multiple times in the Supreme Court. They fought Japanese internment. They fought against school prayer laws mandating school prayer. They worked on the Brown versus Board of Education court case. They've dealt with police misconduct. They fought to allow people to burn the U.S. flag at protests. They fought for abortion rights. Griswold versus Connecticut, which is the right to privacy, which is the one that deals with contraception. Roe v. Wade, Loving v. Virginia, which is the case that allows interracial marriage in the United States, and also many different anti-discrimination suits whether that be for the LGBTQ community, African Americans, Asian Americans, Mexican Americans, the list goes on. They oftentimes help out in those as well. So this thing that Jane helped found has had a profound impact on your rights as an American through their various proceedings in court. Jane Addams also won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1931, and like I said, she was the first American woman to do so. She won because she was involved heavily in the Anti-Imperialist League, which was an organization that was all about stopping imperialism throughout the world. The Progressive Party in America, which came about in the 1910s, and then the International Women's Congress. So she traveled to Europe as America's representative to those congresses several times. She was a staunch pacifist and opposed conflict of all kinds, which is what earned her the Nobel Peace Prize, her work doing all of that. Addams has quite the legacy, and it's still going on. The entire real field of sociology in the United States owes itself to her, because she kind of started that field in the United States. Sociology programs owe a lot to Jane Addams. She contributed heavily to the scholarly research and literature on sociology in the very beginning, and like its inception, and a lot of the initial thought and practice of sociology comes from Jane Addams. Addams is also celebrated yearly in several states, including her home state of Illinois, where there's a whole day dedicated to her. The School of Social Work at the University of Chicago is named after her, partially because, like I said, she's kind of like the founder of social work, but also the University of Chicago was built on top of the Hull House complex, so that was also part of that deal, was that part of the school would be named after her. And then Addams has also been honored by numerous LGBTQ celebrations and honors posthumously, because she was a lesbian and she only dated women. So she's got a lot going for her legacy-wise in the United States. She continues to have an impact on many parts of our country. Thank you guys so much for watching and learning about this amazing woman, Jane Addams, and all that she contributed to in her lifetime, and of course what has come from her work afterwards. We hope to see you again on Historical Biography, and like always, go ahead and comment on the video if there's somebody you would like to learn about that we haven't covered yet. If you tell me someone that you want to learn about, I'll make a video about them. I love suggestions. Thanks again, and we'll see you soon. Bye.